Welcome to the deep dive. We get in our cars pretty much every day, but we probably don't think too much about the really complex stuff under the hood, especially the systems that keep us safe, keep us moving, and kind of transform how we drive. Today, we're digging into one of those, all-wheel drive, or AWD. Our mission here is to unpack what's happening right now, where it's headed, and honestly, some pretty surprising things about the AWD market. And this isn't just about, a feature on a spec sheet. It's a really big shift in car tech and what people actually want. It's affecting everything, from the family SUV to those high-performance electric cars. For this, we're leaning heavily on a great report from Cognitive Market Research. It's called All-Wheel Drive AWD Market Trends and Future Opportunities, and it's freshly updated. So let's get into it. Okay, so just to level set quickly, AWD, it's basically a drivetrain system, right? It sends power to all four wheels. The big deal is it seriously boosts traction and stability. Huge difference when the road gets tricky or the weather turns bad.
Yeah, exactly. And what's kind of fascinating, given AWD isn't brand new tech, is how quickly people's thinking about it has changed. It's not just for off-roading anymore, not by a long shot. The report really points to this pivotal moment where everyday drivers are prioritizing safety features proactively, like really prioritizing them, maybe even more than they used to worry about the initial sticker price or, squeezing out every last mile per gallon. That feels like a pretty fundamental shift in buyer psychology.
That's interesting. So it's moving from a nice to have for adventurers to a must-have for daily safety.
Sort of, yeah. And if you look at what's driving the growth, the big picture, it makes sense.
Yeah.
First, you've just got this massive global demand for SUVs and crossovers. I mean, they're everywhere. And AWD is often standard on those, or at least a very popular option people pick the box for. And second, the technology itself has gotten way smarter. We're talking intelligent adaptive systems now. These aren't just brute force systems. They actually help with fuel economy, believe it or not, and just make the car handle better, feel smoother.
All right, that makes sense. It gives you that extra bit of confidence, maybe, especially, when you get that unexpected snow dump overnight and you just need to get out of the driveway.
Exactly. That peace of mind is a big seller.
So, okay, this growing awareness, the tech improvements, it sounds like a healthy market. Let's talk numbers then. How big are we talking and where's it going?
The numbers are pretty striking, actually. According to that Cognitive Market Research report, the global AWD market was pegged at around $36.2 billion in 2024.
Okay, 36 billion. That's already substantial.
It is. But here's the kicker. It's projected to nearly double. They're forecasting it to hit over $71.1 billion by 2032.
Wow. Double.
Pretty much. That works out to a compound annual growth rate of the CAGR of 8.8% over that period. That kind of steady, strong growth across a whole automotive segment, that's pretty noteworthy.
That really paints a picture. Are we seeing this pop up in unexpected places too? Like you mentioned EVs earlier.
Absolutely. A great example is the new Volkswagen ID Buzz GTX, the electric reimagining of the old VW bus.
Yeah, Frick yeah.
That one. It comes standard with their 4Motion all-wheel drive. And what's really significant there is how they're integrating AWD into these brand new electric platforms. It's not just bolting on old tech. They're making sure it gives great pulling power, great traction like you'd expect, but without messing up the whole EV efficiency thing. It's a re-thing.
So it's adapting alongside the electric revolution, not getting left behind.
Precisely. And that touches on something important. The demand isn't just from you and me buying cars. AWD is a huge growth driver in other areas too. Think commercial vehicles, military and defense applications, even things like fleet management services, rental car companies, they see the value. Plus, you've got rising industrialization, more disposable income in a lot of emerging economies that's fueling demand too. And don't forget, luxury cars and, the whole global EV surge we just mentioned, it all adds up.
Okay, so it's a broad demand base. With all that momentum, what are the key trends really shaping things? And how does it look region by region?
Well, one really big trend is the rise of automated AWD. These newer systems are smart. They figure out where to send the power automatically, improving traction control without you having to flip a switch or anything. It's seamless. And that convenience factor really appeals to a lot of people, makes AWD less of an enthusiast thing and more just easy, comfortable, safe.
That seamless part sounds good. But does that mean less control for people who may be fiddling with settings, the off-road crowd perhaps? Is it seen as a plus across the board?
That's a fair question. You'll always have some purists, right, who want that direct mechanical feel. But honestly, the data suggests for most buyers the sheer convenience and the safety net of the automated systems. That's a massive win. Plus, you layer on things like advanced driver assistance systems, ADS, which often work hand in hand with AWD, and the constant push for better fuel efficiency, which these new systems help with. It just makes automated AWD really attractive to the mainstream market.
Makes sense. Now, you mentioned it's not the same picture everywhere. How does this break down globally? Who's leading the pack?
Yeah, it's definitely not uniform. Looking at the 2023 figures, North America had the biggest slice of the pie, around 35% market share.
Okay. Why North America?
Mostly climate, lots of areas with heavy snow, rain, conditions where AWD really shines. People value that traction and control. Plus, there's just a lot of ongoing tech development in AWD systems happening there, often tailored for those exact conditions.
Gotcha. And Europe.
Europe was next, holding about 30% share. Again, you see strong preference in places with mountains, harsh winters. But there's also a big emphasis in Europe on tech innovation and environmental sustainability. So that's pushed the development of more efficient, greener AWD systems that definitely contributes to their market strength.
And Asia Pacific. You mentioned emerging economies earlier.
Asia Pacific is really the one to watch. It had about 25% share in 2023, but it's expected to jump to nearly 29% just by 2024.
Wow, that's a big leap in 1 year.
It is. It represents the highest AGR of all regions, a really strong 13%. It's driven by a mix of things. More urbanization, rising incomes, meaning more people can afford cars, especially SUVs, and just a rapidly developing auto industry overall. China, Japan, India, they're really leading that expansion.
Is there anything specific in Asia Pacific beyond just money in cities, like cultural factors or regulations pushing AWD?
That's a good point. Yeah, beyond just income, there's definitely an aspirational aspect. In many emerging middle-class populations, owning a vehicle, especially a larger, seemingly safer one like an SUV, is a bit of status symbol. And practically, many of these countries have really diverse terrains. Roads aren't always perfect. So the versatility of AWD is genuinely useful. So you have this cultural pull towards bigger, more capable vehicles, meeting a real practical need. That's a powerful combination. And all this activity means the big players, companies like ZF Friedrichshafen, Continental, BorgWarner, they're constantly competing, innovating, investing in R&D to capture that growth. ZF had something like 23% share in 2023, Continental around 16%, BorgWarner 12%. It's competitive.
Okay, it sounds like a booming market, but surely it's not all smooth sailing. What are the bumps in the road? The challenges?
Oh, definitely challenges. The big one is cost. Let's be frank. AWD systems are just generally more expensive than your basic two-wheel drive, and often more than traditional four-wheel drive or 4WD systems, too.
Why is that? More parts?
More parts and smarter parts. They often use more advanced tech, electronic controls, sophisticated sensors, all the stuff that makes them perform well. But that tech costs money to develop and produce, and you need more complex drivetrain components, more tricky integration into the vehicle. It all adds up to a higher price on the window sticker compared to simpler setups.
So cost is a barrier. But given the demand, especially for SUVs where people kind of expect AWD now, are consumers pushing back, or are they willing to pay that premium?
It's a balancing act for manufacturers, for sure. Cost is always a factor, no doubt. But the market seems to show that for a lot of buyers, especially those already stepping up to an SUV or crossover, the perceived value is there, that feeling of safety, the all-weather capability. Many are willing to pay extra for it, so it's less a hard wall and more of a constant challenge. How do we make this great tech more affordable without cutting corners on performance?
Right. Are there tech challenges beyond just the cost itself?
Yeah, absolutely. There's the complexity we mentioned. Integrating these sophisticated sensors and software smoothly isn't trivial. Manufacturers are always trying to find that sweet spot between adding cool new features and keeping production manageable and prices reasonable. And then there's the whole EV and hybrid integration piece. That's a big engineering hurdle. You can't just drop a traditional AWD system into an electric car. It often needs significant redesign to work efficiently with electric motors and battery management systems. So that requires constant R&D, constant innovation to come up with AWD solutions that are efficient, reliable, and actually enhance the EV experience.
So challenges exist, but it sounds like the industry is actively working on them. Looking ahead then, despite these hurdles, what's next? What's the exciting stuff on the horizon for AWD?
Well, the future really looks electrified and intelligent. That's the big direction. We're going to see much deeper, smarter integration of AWD with electric and hybrid vehicles. This isn't just about adding traction, it's about using AWD to actively improve the vehicle's overall performance and efficiency. Think better energy management, smoother power delivery from electric motors, and the systems themselves are getting incredibly sophisticated. We're moving beyond just splitting power based on slip. We're talking systems using advanced sensors, AI, complex algorithms, constantly monitoring road conditions, predicting needs, and adjusting torque split in real time. The goal is even better handling, more stability, and just a fundamentally safer, more intuitive feel behind the wheel.
That real-time predictive adjustment.
Mm.
That sounds like a big leap. Are there examples we can point to now, things hitting the market?
You can see elements of it emerging. Take, for instance, Continental Tires introducing those new cross-contact AX6 tires in India, specifically for SUVs. Now, okay, it's a tire, not the drivetrain itself, but it highlights the ecosystem approach. Those tires are designed for durability, low noise, sure, but also specifically for quicker braking on wet roads designed to complement intelligent AWD systems. It shows how everything, right down to the rubber meeting the road, is getting smarter to maximize the benefits of these advanced AWD setups.
So the whole vehicle works together more intelligently.
Exactly. And software and connectivity are going to amplify that even more. Think real-time data processing, over-the-air updates to improve AWD logic, maybe even more user customization options down the line. And another angle is sustainability. There's a growing push to use more eco-friendly materials and manufacturing processes in building these systems, too.
So wrapping this part up, it sounds like AWD isn't going anywhere. In fact, it's becoming more central.
I'd say so. As long as people keep buying SUVs and crossovers, and there's no sign of that stopping, AWD will be a key feature. And the competition we talked about. That's likely going to keep pushing manufacturers to bring costs down eventually, while still improving performance and economy. So hopefully that makes advanced AWD accessible to even more people over time.
Okay, so we've really journeyed through the world of all-wheel drive today in this deep dive. We started with, what it is, but quickly saw that shift in why people want it now, that move towards everyday safety. We looked at the really impressive market growth, the different stories playing out in North America, Europe, and especially that surge in Asia-Pacific. Touched on the challenges too, cost, complexity, EV integration, and then finished looking at the future smarter, more integrated electrified systems.
Yeah, I think the key takeaway for me is how AWD is evolving. It started as, a mechanical solution for traction now. It's becoming this deeply integrated, intelligent system. It's not just about grip anymore. It's fundamentally enhancing safety, boosting efficiency, and really changing the whole driving experience. It's becoming part of the car's brain, in a way.
It's a great way to put it.
Okay.
Which leads to maybe a final thought for everyone listening. If these AWD systems are getting so intelligent, so adaptive, so integrated, what does that really tell us about how our relationship with our cars and even the environment around us might change in the coming years? Are we heading towards cars that anticipate what we need, what the road demands, even before we do? And how might that fundamentally alter what it feels like to be behind the wheel? Something to ponder, perhaps? That's it for this deep dive.